It's another very wet Monday morning. We don't seem to be able to get away from it. Not over the last 6 weeks anyway. But apparently starting tomorrow it is going to pick up. And we're in for quite a few sunny days, which at this time of year are very welcome. I've been looking at this butternut squash plant. We've had it growing away in this greenhouse for quite a while. And every single day it just gets bigger and bigger. So far we've not seen any fruit on it. But I did notice something this morning. You can see that we've been clearing leaves off of this plant as it grows, and then I've cut off any extra vines that start to grow. That is a new one that's just started. So you got to keep on top of these plants. But it's just growing everywhere. Massive leaves. And it keeps producing flowers. But since this plant started, we've not actually seen any fruit. But you can see to the extent that this plant's growing now. All the way across that bench. Filling out with lots and lots of leaves. It's put out another vine right there. Trying to grow off in a different direction to the main one. Which is this one. Which is now virtually all the way across this bench. So it's a massive plant. But one thing I did notice about this plant this morning is this. Right there. We've got us first butternut squash growing. Albeit small. I don't see any more on this plant. Got to really check under all leaves. There is one trying to grow just there. But for the size of this plant and the time it's been growing, I can't see any more. But at least we've got that one, and it's not a bad size. So we've got a bit of a result on this plant so far. But the problem is, it should have started growing fruit quite a long time ago. It's now approaching autumn, and we've only just started getting these squashes growing on as plants. Because it's in a greenhouse, that plant is going to last a lot longer than it would if it were outside. So we've still got a chance of getting one, maybe two fruits. As long as we can get them to grow to a good size and start to turn brown, we'll be alright. But it's very late in year, as a lot of plants have been this year. People have still got loads and loads of green tomatoes on the plants and are yet to see one red one. We've been lucky because we've had quite a few. But don't think that those tomatoes won't ripen, just leave them, they'll ripen. Give them that feed every 8 days or so, just to boost those nutrients. Cut back all that foliage, remove bottom foliage to open those plants up to more sunlight when we do get some. And you'll be surprised at just how quick those tomatoes will start ripening. And I think over the next few days, people are going to realise that we've got quite a lot of sun, haven't we? And that's going to trigger ripening on all your tomatoes. Before you know it, you're going to be picking some. So just be patient with those. I've also got this tray that we've had outside as well. I need to do something with this. These are all Florence red onions, and I've let them grow on a little bit, and now they're starting to split off. So these need moving. I'm going to have to do these at some point today. I've got a little random plant in there. Don't know what that is. Well, I don't want to leave them in here because they're not going to do anything. They're just too close together. So if I want to get some more red onions growing for autumn and winter, then this definitely needs a little bit of attention. We might not use them all, but any that's spare I could just randomly put outside and see what happens with them. But that's definitely a job for this week. And apart from that, we still want to be sowing more seeds in those little containers. We've got quite a few of them. They're down in that container garden at the moment because we've got this rain. That's just going to make sure that compost stays moist while the seeds germinate. But we've had to take them all out at bottom watering trays now, because one day you have to put them in bottom watering trays because everything's drying out really quick, and then you get days like this and then trays are constantly full of water, which is really bad for the roots of your plants. So we've had to go down there this morning and take everything out of watering trays and just stand them on those tables. I got some of these seeds quite recently, some more beetroot, and they're called Moulin Rouge. So I decided I want to try some of these. You can sow beetroot right up until end of July, beginning of August. And what I'm wanting to do with this is grow it for baby beets. I don't want to wait to get really big ones. We've got some of those growing in garden already, but it'd be nice to get some little baby beets that we can just boil to soften, and then we can just pop those straight into pickling jars whole. So I think it'd be worth having a go at some of those and see how they go. But even though we're trying to grow them for baby beets, it doesn't mean we've got to space those seeds out, because you can multi-sow beetroot and they'll just grow in a little clump together, exactly the same way spring onions do. And as they grow, they'll push each other apart. And they don't need to do much pushing at all, because we only want those little beets out of there. So we can plant quite a few of these in a container and let it grow on. There's nothing better than fresh, homegrown pickled beetroot. We know that. We've got recipes for it on his cooking channel, if you haven't seen that. And it makes a really nice pickled beetroot, and they last for ages. So if you've not seen that, there's a link in the description. So pop over to the cooking channel and take a look at all the things that we do on there to try and preserve these harvests that we get all year. We do juices, we do sauces, we do pickling, blanching, freezing, anything that saves all this effort for use at a later date. As we've been harvesting this year, we've obviously had lots of containers that have been coming empty to use again for autumn. And this is one of them. It's quite a good sized container. It's got a nice bit of depth to it, and it's got pretty good drainage as well. And we used that this year to grow red onions, and we harvested those last week. And they weren't a bad size, but we did grow them from seed, not sets, because they always seem a bit rubbish to me. So I'm going to use this container, and I'm going to put in a full pack of these beetroot seeds, and then we're on his way to growing some baby beets. But as always, I've always got containers lying around with old composting. So that's what we're going to use. Plus this is quite lumpy, this stuff as well, so it's going to help with drainage. You just need to make sure that there's no old roots and stuff in it, and then it's perfectly alright to use. We'll chuck a load in here, basically filling it, and give that a shake. Sometimes when you shake your containers, any large pieces come to the top anyway, so it's quite easy to pick them back out. And then as we sift through, we're going to find a few roots that we can just take out. Not that it's really going to bother beetroot. They're quite big seeds anyway, so a good helping of that fish blood and bone that we always use. Enough nutrients to keep these plants going for months. And then a quick mix. As we do that, we're going to find more bits and bobs that we don't want in there, but that's good. We're weeding this compost and taking any lumps away at the same time as we're setting it up. We could have just sieved it, but I didn't want to. Definitely don't want a little potato in there. The thing is with beetroots, they're not so particular about the soil that they're growing, like other plants. Even though they're a root vegetable, they grow on surface, so they don't need a taproot to go down. So if you've even got soil that's a bit clear, you still be able to grow beetroots in there. You just need to adjust the watering in that situation so they don't get too wet, because clay holds water for longer. So now I'm going to top that off with some of his new compost. Just a couple of inch covering on top, and you know I'm going to level it out. I always do, it's an habit. There's probably some old school gardeners out there watching what I do thinking, what are you doing that for? There's no need. Like back in day, they just chucked those seeds in and away they went. It just seems at the moment you have to baby quite a lot of stuff to get it to work. Not to this degree though. So I've just levelled that out, but we haven't compacted it down, because the beetroot does grow on the surface, but a little bit of it is under soil, so it still needs room to expand, just like onions. And then I'll give it a quick watering. Could have just put it outside for 5 minutes today, that would have done the job. Apparently this rain is in for an entire day. Like we haven't seen enough of that. In some respects it's better, because when you're doing jobs like this in your greenhouse, you're not getting cooked at the same time. So there we go, they're the beets that we're growing. We'll see how many we get in these packs. Well, that is the full pack. So there's not loads, but we can just broadcast them over here. And we can see that we're spreading them out quite a bit. You can just plant them together in clumps if you want. But if you spread them out, it's going to let those plants bulb up a little bit bigger. But if you're doing what we're doing, that doesn't really matter. We only want baby beets. So I'm putting quite a few on. Trying to stay away from edge as much as possible, so they've got no room to grow if they're on edge. And I think that'll do. So you can see I've put quite a lot of seeds on there, but that's fine. We can just space them out a little bit as well if we want to, but I'm not too fussed when it comes to these, knowing that they grow perfectly fine together in clumps. Yeah, I'm still doing it. So that's those in, and then I'm just pressing them into that wet compost. Not going too mad with them, just so I know they've got good contact. And you might know this already, but because these seeds are little clusters, each seed can produce more than one seedling. So you could end up with a couple growing together from just one of those. And then I'm just going to quickly cover those over. I wasn't too particular when I did that, with them being big seeds, so we don't need such a fine covering of compost. That's why I just shook that sieve over the top. Let's give that another quick watering. And I'm just going to pop a sheet of glass over the top of that. That's going to keep that moisture in there, but it's also going to stop mice digging those seeds up and causing us problems later down the line. So there we go, another container set up, ready for autumn and winter. But hopefully, over the next few months, we're going to start and get some really nice baby beets from there. And then we can start doing that autumn winter pickling that we always do, which we do on Cooking Channel. And if you're a part of Cooking Channel, this afternoon we're going to be making some fresh homemade tomato juice. But I'm also doing another one, which is apple and cucumber. Really healthy drinks. And if you do what we're doing, the ingredients is right there in your back garden. So if you're interested in seeing those videos, there's a link in the description to Cooking Channel, so pop over there. Those videos will be on this afternoon at some point. And if you've not already got any beetroot growing, then maybe set yourself up a little container. I'm leaving these to grow in greenhouse because I want to encourage faster growth. But you could do the same thing outside in a cold frame. But just make sure that while these seeds are germinating, you keep them covered, because those pesky rodents will dig them up. Anyway, looking forward to that sunshine to come over the next week or so. And if you're interested in seeing what we'll be doing then, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care.